Keith Urban is on stage for his first show since Nicole Kidman filed for divorce.
Golden couple had separated after 19 years of marriage.
For nearly 2 decades, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have been one of Hollywood's most admired couples, a rare symbol of lasting love in an industry built on fleeting fame. Their red carpet chemistry, heartfelt interviews, and shared devotion to family painted a picture of perfection. But behind that radiant image, the couple faced challenges that few ever imagined. And now, after 19 years of marriage, Keith Urban is finally breaking his silence about the truth, and what he's revealed is exactly what many long suspected all along. Keith's confession wasn't filled with scandal or regret. It was raw, honesty about the struggles, sacrifices, and unwavering love that have defined their journey together. From his battles with addiction to the pressures of fame, Urban admitted that there were times when their marriage was tested in ways the public never saw. Yet through it all, Nicole remained his constant anchor, the quiet force who believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself. "She saved me," Keith admitted in a recent interview, "not just from my demons, but from losing sight of who I really was." Fans around the world were moved by his candid words. For years, many had sensed that there was more to the couple's bond than glitz and glamour, a deep emotional truth that only they shared. Now, for the first time, Keith Urban is opening up about what truly kept them together through heartbreak, redemption, and unconditional love. And his confession proves one thing beyond all doubt. Sometimes the most perfect love stories are written through imperfection. When Keith Urban first met Nicole Kidman in 2005, few could have predicted that their connection would turn into one of the most enduring love stories in Hollywood. At the time, both were already famous in their own right. Nicole, an Oscar-winning actress fresh from her divorce from Tom Cruise, and Keith, a rising country music star making waves across the United States. Yet behind the fame and the flashes of paparazzi cameras, both were quietly searching for something deeper, a kind of love that fame couldn't manufacture. Their paths crossed at the G'day USA Gala, an event celebrating Australians who had made their mark internationally. Keith, shy and quietly observing, saw Nicole across the room and was immediately captivated. "She just glowed," he would later admit. But surprisingly, he didn't approach her right away. Despite his charisma on stage, Keith was reserved when it came to matters of the heart. Nicole, for her part, later confessed that she thought he wasn't interested. "I remember thinking, he's not really that into me," she told a friend. He didn't call for months, but fate had other plans. When Keith finally reached out, the spark between them was instant. What started as a few simple phone calls soon grew into long conversations that stretched late into the night. Their connection was genuine, built on laughter, shared values, and an unspoken understanding of life in the spotlight. By 2006, they were married in an intimate ceremony in Sydney, surrounded by family, friends, and the soft glow of candlelight. To the world, it looked like a fairy tale, a glamorous couple destined for happiness. But what many didn't see was the quiet storm already brewing beneath the surface. Keith was battling personal demons, struggling with addiction, a struggle that had haunted him for years. Only a few months into their marriage, his dependency reached a breaking point. Nicole, faced with a heartbreaking reality, had to make a choice: walk away or stand by the man she loved. She chose the latter. In what many described as an act of unconditional love, Nicole staged an intervention and helped Keith enter rehab. It was a painful but necessary turning point. "I was terrified," Keith later revealed. "Terrified of losing her. Terrified of losing myself." The public only saw a composed couple smiling on red carpets, but behind the scenes, their marriage was being tested by some of life's hardest challenges. Nicole stood by him every step of the way, not with judgment, but with compassion. "She's the most loyal person I've ever known," Keith once said. "She believed in me when no one else did, not even me." That period marked the beginning of a deeper, more authentic bond between them. Their love transformed from glamorous to grounded, from picture-perfect to profoundly real. "The rehab, the pain, it made us stronger," Keith later shared. It made me realize how lucky I am to have her. As Keith began to heal, their love only grew more unshakable. Together, they built a quiet life far from Hollywood's chaos, raising their 2 daughters, Sunday and Faith, with values rooted in kindness and humility. It was the start of a new chapter, one where fame took a back seat, and love became the only thing that truly mattered. After completing rehab, Keith Urban returned home a changed man, but not an entirely healed one. Recovery, as he later admitted, was not a single moment of triumph, but a long, painful journey filled with self-doubt and fear. For Keith, it was Nicole's unwavering strength and quiet love that helped him stay grounded when his world felt uncertain. "She never made me feel ashamed," he said years later. "She made me feel loved, even at my weakest." During those early years of marriage, Keith struggled with balancing his career and his recovery. He was used to living life on the road, performing, traveling, and chasing inspiration from city to city. But now things were different. He had a family waiting for him, a woman who had risked everything to save him, and a promise he couldn't break: to stay sober and to stay true. Nicole understood that healing required space, patience, and consistency. "She didn't try to fix me," Keith shared. "She just stood beside me until I found my way back." While he focused on rebuilding his health, Nicole kept their lives steady, shielding him from media scrutiny and protecting their privacy. She turned down several film roles to be home with him, a gesture that spoke volumes about her priorities. The press often portrayed Nicole as the strong, composed figure, but few realized how much emotional weight she carried behind closed doors. Friends of the couple revealed that she was deeply protective of Keith, checking in on him constantly, making sure he was surrounded by the right people, and helping him rebuild confidence in both his career and himself. "She never gave up," a close friend said. When things were darkest, she was his light. By 2008, Keith's life began to stabilize. His music, raw, honest, and deeply personal, reflected his transformation. Songs like "Thank You" and "Only You Can Love Me This Way" were open love letters to Nicole, expressing gratitude for the woman who refused to let him fall apart. "Every lyric was a piece of my heart," Keith once explained. "I owe my life to her, and my music too." Nicole, in turn, often described Keith as her greatest source of joy. Despite their contrasting worlds, his country music roots and her Hollywood sophistication, they shared an unshakable emotional connection. Their home became a sanctuary, a world away from the noise of fame. They would often spend evenings cooking together, playing with their daughters, and enjoying quiet nights under the stars at their Nashville farm. But even as their bond strengthened, Keith admitted that he continued to wrestle with guilt. "There were times I wondered if I deserved her," he confessed. "She'd already been through so much in her life, and I didn't want to be another storm she had to survive." Yet Nicole never wavered. "We all go through storms," she told him. "What matters is who we hold on to while they pass." Those words became their foundation, a promise that love wasn't about perfection, but persistence. By the end of that chapter in their lives, Keith had not only regained control over his career, but also rediscovered himself. With Nicole's faith as his anchor, he emerged stronger, more focused, and more grateful than ever. Their love, tested by pain, had transformed into something unbreakable. Not a Hollywood fantasy, but a deeply human story of grace, redemption, and resilience. As Keith Urban slowly rebuilt his life and career, something even deeper began to change within him, the way he understood love, family, and purpose. For the first time in his life, he felt at peace. "I used to think happiness came from success," he later said. "Now I know it comes from the people you love and the home you build with them." Nicole Kidman had given him that home, not just a place, but a feeling. Together, they welcomed their first daughter, Sunday Rose, in 2008, followed by Faith Margaret in 2010. Becoming a father shifted Keith's priorities in ways he never expected. The man who once lived out of suitcases and tour buses began craving quiet mornings, bedtime stories, and school runs. "When my girls hug me, everything else fades away," he shared in an interview. Nicole, too, found a new kind of joy in motherhood alongside Keith. After years of living under constant public scrutiny, She found comfort in their private life in Nashville, far from the bright lights of Los Angeles and London. There, they could just be Keith and Nick, not international stars, but parents who laughed over burnt pancakes and messy art projects. "We're just a regular family," Nicole once said. "We argue over dishes, we play music, and we love each other deeply." Still, fame has a way of creeping back in. Both Keith and Nicole were at the height of their respective careers. He with chart-topping albums and sold-out tours, and she with award-winning performances. Yet, instead of letting their schedules pull them apart, they made a pact early on, never to spend more than a few days apart. It wasn't always easy, but it became the secret to their lasting bond. Nicole would often fly across the world just to be with Keith for a few days during his tours.